Hey, I made a Pet Riot song yesterday and one the day before. The one yesterday has a contributing vocal by Paul, and the other one the day before is just myself. I've been experimenting with using electric guitar on my own, and that's pretty fun. I mean, you don't need a lot of skill with an electric guitar to get like a sound. So anyway, whatever. It's Pet Riot. But I wanted to. There's been a little bit of like this and that. Your opinion, Paul's opinion, my opinion on who he is, what his background is, what he stands for, why he is where he is now, where is he now. So I composed a timeline of his life, which is on the computer screen. So I'll be looking at that. As a teenager, he first became aware of politics and social issues, and through punk rock, and he was way into bands like Fugazi, Minor Threat, Sex Pistols, um, and it was the early '80s. He was uh, he was young and angry, fixated. I was into skateboarding and punk rock. Um, he was convinced the government was his enemy, and all of this also helped him embrace his outcast status, um, while this is in like weird notes form, while automatically rejecting everything that he considered establishment, popular, or authoritarian. So he was a rebel, you get it, and he was a teenager, early 20s maybe. And then he is from a small Illinois town. And I just picture Streeter, Illinois, because that is where my friend Mike is from, and everything he ever said about it just sounded kind of bleak. Um, in a lot of ways. I mean, in a lot of ways, it was his family, but I've seen Illinois towns, and they're kind of bleak. I mean, not a lot going on culturally or just beautifully. Like, although there is a, I'm tangenting now. There is a state park near Streeter that Kevin took me hiking to, forest hiking, called Starved Rock State Park, and the history has something to do with like fucking starving out Indians, Native Americans. But it was nice. Although we went in like November and it was like bare trees, and actually it was kind of spooky. But anyway, forget that. So he's from an Illinois town far away from Chicago. He gets his girlfriend pregnant, of course, and I couldn't decide whether she's a hairdresser, works at Kroger like Mike's mom and sister, or is a nurse's aide. And I'm not quite sure, but she's hairdresser might be a little more with it, like a little more of a career, and I think that that's her deal. He has a manufacturing job, of what I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Kevin Brining had a manufacturing job, building Motorola cell phones, but I don't think this is the time period of that, where that would have been what people were doing. So I don't know. Whatever industry was taking place in Illinois at that time. And he does that for years. They have a kid, and he's a little bit FML, but he takes his responsibilities seriously. Um, he forms a bar band. He's learned how to play guitar over the years, back in his punk years, and he still has punk spirit inside. But he's kind of chained to his job, his wife, his kid. But the bar band like is fairly popular in their town, and he loves it. It's like the only joy in his life. Um, but eventually, he's laid off from his manufacturing job, and he tries hard to find a job. He starts to maybe have psychological issues that were, excuse me while I sip coffee. I don't know, maybe they were underlying all along. Maybe part of the punk rebellion thing was, a manifestation of it. But whatever, he starts to crack up a bit as the months go by and he's looking for a job. I mean, who wouldn't? But he he's trying hard to find a job. His relationship with his wife is very strained. Um, Kind of to feel involved with life while he's looking for a job. He volunteers at a soup kitchen or a shelter or something, just to feel like he's doing something daily. He has somewhere to go, and he starts to really become aware of, like in a concrete way, of the struggles of other people. Like when he was younger, he was like had this angry attitude about the government and stuff, but that was more like his own personal anger and like a outlet for that, and maybe a bit of a pose. But now, like he starts to really get into, he has a struggle finding a job. The money problems, the bills are piling up. His wife is getting colder toward him. He does this volunteering work, and he's seeing right up close how people's lives can fall apart so easily with the loss of a job or um, mental health issues. Like how like nobody really cares, and like America doesn't really have a safety net for the disenfranchised. So, or at least not in Illinois. Um, it's too much for him. He starts drinking too much. He never really had a drinking or drug problem, but he starts drinking pretty hard. Um, Not getting the job, drinking, depression. His wife kicks him out. So, because she feels like he's horrible around the kids, he's snapping at the kids. She's just disgusted by him. Maybe she's a little cold and shallow. I don't know, or she just can't take it. It's too stressful for her. So she kicks him out. He's couch surfing. He's got his buddies and stuff, his bar buddies, and he's got some family. He's not really close to his family. He's got a brother, but the brother has a bitchy sister-in-law that's like not putting up with him staying for long. So he's a little desperate, and he becomes homeless. And you can't be homeless in Illinois. I mean, you can. I saw them in Chicago, but really, really harsh winters and hot summers, so uncomfortable. So somehow, I don't know exactly how, like a boxcar deal, but he makes his way to California, where it's way, way easier to be homeless. Not that it's easy, but it's easier to survive. And yeah, he's in California, and he's living on the beach. Um, he has ragtag friends, kind of like in the homeless community, like, and he kind of gets into a partying lifestyle that's on and off, like when he can get it, like whether it's alcohol or meth or whatever. He'll do anything. He's at rock bottom of his life, um, and his ragtag friends are you and Paul, and sometimes you're able to get together and jam, like under the bridge or whatever, and he keeps his guitar, and maybe there's like a little tape recorder or something, or so you make crazy loud punkish homeless music, and that's when he's hanging out with his ragtag band of friends, and they're fucked up, they're drunk, and like for a little while he's feeling good, and he makes punky crazy music, but sometimes he's drunk alone, and he gets it's like a dark place, and then when he sobers up, he's melancholy and he's angry, and that he's making the darker, not so pumped songs, which are the songs that I make by myself. But anyway, that's the evolution of his patriotism, I guess, is like in the beginning, it's like this teenage rebellion, maybe kind of superficial but passionate, and then he's just kind of like working, living, living up to his responsibilities, not really that happy, but doing what's expected of him. And then he gets laid off and is like, "Meh." And it's only when he's like homeless. No, when he witnesses people far worse off than he is, but yet he can feel that he's heading in their direction, where he really starts to feel real anger at the government, at our not just the government, but our social structure, the coldness of the American people, like is what he's experiencing. The way they can turn a blind eye to what's right in front of them, the suffering of others. So he kind of gets radicalizes gradually, and then once he's like completely down and out, homeless, it's like he's sober and he's making those songs. It all comes out like this journey. This I hate the word journey, but his life, um, both his actual lived life and his perspective on other people and the harm our culture does to people that can't make it, that don't have what it takes, either for mental illness or misfortune, or for like fucking corporations fucking them over and then losing everything and there being no safety net or so little. And the shame, the shame you feel, the judgment of others. And yeah, and he's down and out, and he's making music like all over the place, different moods. So that's Pat Riot. I mean, when Paul and I first started Pat Riot talk, like from the beginning, it was kind of like almost like the gray boy of rock and roll, like kind of like a dumb, patriotic, flag waving, um, butt rocker. But like that's in him. But he's not stupid, and he's a populist, and he does care deeply for his fellow man and woman. Um, he can't stand injustice, but he doesn't really have the means or the education to pursue social change in any, tangible way. I mean, who does really? What does education have to do with it? Like, I feel like we're all sort of impotent against a very large machine. So this whole Pat Riot thing is kind of about my despair, but I see him as a like that song "Born in the USA." That character, it's like that's where he's going, because the song just ends with like, I can't get a job in this town and I'm fucking bitter. And like that could be Pat Riot's trajectory. It's like, well, what happens next when you can't get a job in your small town, and you don't have much education. So, and there's also this song "Ghost Factory" by U.S. Air Force, which was the bar band that I was like really big fans of. It was my college. I mean, they played at the bar that was close to the college, and that guy Nick that I had a crush on. And now he's a movie maker. He was a drummer, but they had this other guy Jeff who was older than everyone else in the band, and he had this amazing song called "Ghost Factory" about a factory that's closed down, and he's she doesn't know what to do. It's such a great song. Um, so that's it. Fuck, man, I gotta go. But I hope I've made that clear, and I'm gonna send you more songs that we made. Bye.